So in this video, we're going to talk about division, specifically dividing a whole number by a decimal number, and that can be pretty tricky. So before we jump into these three calculations, I'm going to talk about it a little bit and hopefully help you understand why something happens. Because this might not seem obvious, but every single one of these answers, 4 divided by 0.2, 80 divided by 0.05, 6 divided by 0.008, they're going to end up being bigger numbers than anything written here in the question. Okay? And I'm going to explain why that happens. At a party, there are 10 pizzas delivered. If each person gets half a pizza, how many guests are at the party? So if you think about this, we've got 10 pizzas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 pizzas. And then the first person gets half a pizza. And then the second person, and then the third and the fourth person share that pizza. And then the fifth and the sixth person, and then the seventh and the eighth person, and the ninth and the 10th person, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. So from that I can see that if you split 10 pizzas up and everybody gets half a pizza, you can split it between 20 people. So if I roll that calculation out, it would look something like this. 10 divided by 0.5, because 0.5 is a half, equals 20. So I'm dividing 10 by a number and I'm ending up with a bigger number. But I'm going to help you be able to do it without having to draw out things like this, although it is a way of doing it if you really wanted to. Although as you can see with example 3, it's going to be pretty tricky to draw something split up into 0.008. I'm going to show you a method of how to do these questions. And that is changing the question so there's no decimals. So look here, that is 0.2. I don't like having to divide by 0.2. How many decimal points do I need to move that so that it's a whole number? So can you see if I can multiply that by 10, 0.2 divided by 10 times by 10, sorry, is just 2. But whatever you do to one of them, you need to do to the other one. So I'm also going to times a 4 by 10. Okay, so that becomes 40 divided by 2. And 40 divided by 2 is 20. Okay, so I multiplied them both by the number 10, because then that meant that we're going to have it be both whole numbers, which I can then divide a lot easier. Okay, so when it was 0.2 multiplied by 10. What are we going to do when it's 0.05? We think this is tenths and then hundredths after the decimal point. So instead of timesing by 10, I'm going to times them both by 100. Okay, so 80 times 100 will be 8,000. And then 0.05 times 100, if we move the decimal point, will be 5. And then if you need to, we can just do our bus stop. Five into 8 once, with the remainder 3. 5 into 30, 6, 0, 0. So 8,000 divided by 5 is 1,600, which means 80 divided by 0.05 is 1,600. So there is one digit after the decimal point, multiplied by 10. So when there's tens, we did it by 10. Hundreds, times it by 100. We've now got 3 digits after the decimal point, which means that's tenths, hundreds, thousands. So to make this into a whole number, I'm going to times it by 1,000. 6 times 1,000 is 6,000. 0.008 times 1,000, if we move that decimal point, it's 1, 2, 3, is 8. So I'm going to divide that by 8. 8 into 6 doesn't go. 8 into 60 goes 7 times with a remainder of 4. 8 into 40 goes 5 times, and then 8 into 0 goes 0 times. Remember, you can use a times table square if you're struggling with them. So 6,000 divided by 8 is 750. So 6 divided by 0.008 is 750. So that's how you can divide numbers by a decimal.